Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Design a Planet Coaster. I truly apologize for the lack of videos lately, but we're back and we're back in full swing. In fact, in case you missed it, last weekend I did a 2.5 hour live stream for Planet Coaster where I created some of the things that you see before your eyes right now, this roller coaster and a bunch of other little details. So if you don't want to see more spoilers than this, I highly encourage you to stop this video right now. Go look at the link in the description and you can find the full uncut recorded live stream that we did. So it was a lot of fun, but now we're back and we're going to continue Alta's Paradise, which is our current park. And I'm so excited, but we're in Alpha 2 right now. Alpha 2 is among us. And a lot of new features were released. I'm sure by now you've already seen videos from other YouTubers and whatnot. But if you are not aware of some of the cool things that were released, well, let me tell you about them. I'm gonna start this episode by building a maze. And as you can see here, I'm using one of the main new features that were announced, which are these transparent paths. They actually are indeed transparent, even though you see that they have a bit of a sand texture to it. Those can be erased, and you can actually paint them in different ways. There's actual brush where you can switch between sand and two types of stone, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And part of that is also terraforming controls, which is huge. Terraforming control is now available in the game. It doesn't include water, unfortunately, so we will have to keep, using our fake blue paths for that, but it's fine. It's fine. We can use that for a while. In fact, our river actually looks like a river now, especially with all the vegetation around it. But over here, I'm just putting down trees of different heights. Basically, I'm just sinking them into the ground and raising others a little bit upwards. That way, it creates that sensation, or basically avoids the sensation of them being too repetitive. That's kind of what I was aiming for here. So I think I mentioned that before, but it's probably worth noting again. Now, this maze is really simple, by the way. It's just, it's really not hard, finding the exit out of the maze. But what I wanted to achieve here is try to integrate the roller coaster and the aqueduct, kind of, have it come together with another type of attraction, in this case, a maze. And even though it's not a real attraction, people won't really react to it. I'm hoping that people actually walk through this, even though it might not be the shortest path to whatever it is they're going, but it's fine for now. I'm okay with that. And as you can see here, I'm adding a few props that are basically new. Some of the flowers, there's some like light blue flowers and some yellow flowers that are absolutely gorgeous. And there's also like some simple bushes, just green bushes that are also really pretty. So I try to put them all over the place. You're going to see me do that pretty often during this episode. Now at this stage, I'm just putting some light so that this place looks good at night, but it's not enough. We actually have to do a whole episode where we add the proper lighting to this park because it's lacking tremendously. I have to admit, I think it can be done much better, but we'll get to that. Now, going back to some of the things that came out in Alpha. By the way, let me make a parenthesis here. This things that I'm adding here to the tower, I started putting vines against the walls, and honestly, they look freaking ill. When I put a few of those, it's just and creating kind of a bind around the tower, it just made it so much nicer. That is not even funny. It's really amazing. So I highly encourage you to try that out in your park, see if you have a copy of the game. But yeah, going back to Alpha 2, it's packed with a ton of new things. One of them is like I said, terraforming. That's huge. I'm gonna show it to you later on in this episode how that really works. We're gonna do some experimentation in the corner of the map so that we don't mess anything out. But I'm probably gonna, if I remember correctly, I did a little bit of a terraforming during this time lapse. Now, over there, I'm putting down some soldiers. I don't know if you noticed that. Those are like new animatronics that you could just put in, and they actually look great on the aqueduct, on that structure. It's just amazing how that looks. I was really happy about that. And here, I'm doing a little bit of terraforming like I said I would. And in a moment, you're gonna see how I start using the sand brush to basically create a bit of a beach next to the next to our little creek. And I think it turned out amazingly. I just put down a boat. There's a lot of new props too, by the way. You're gonna see here, yeah, there's a log there. There's a bunch of like driftwood that you can use. I'm actually gonna use it later on to decorate the edges of a path, but we'll get to that in a moment. Over here, I put down an anchor and some of these new flowers mixed with the vines that we used to have, and I think they look fantastic. Another thing to notice in this new update is the fact that there's actual money now. I don't know exactly, I haven't really paid that much attention to how that works, but all the rides now have prices, and I've seen the money gone up. In fact, you can see it during this time lapse. Well, right now the game is paused, but for whatever reason I unpause it, you'll see it go up, and that's a cool little feature. It's a tiny little detail, but it truly adds to the experience. Now, one problem that I had is that during the live stream last week, I was still on Alpha 1, and that's when I created the roller coaster. However, the roller coaster now no longer works. In fact, when I created the roller coaster was red, and when I opened up the game in Alpha 2, it turned to white, because that's another of these new features. You can actually change the colors of pretty much everything in a roller coaster, from the rails to the pillars to the main pipe thing that connects it all together. I don't know the actual term of that, so I'm sorry. But and the cars, of course. And that wasn't really an issue, because that was going to bring back the color that we used to have. The problem is that now it seems that the roller coaster is bugged. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a massive line of people just standing to get on the roller coaster. The roller coaster is turned on, and the train comes into the station, and nobody can get in, which is not great. So I tried, turn it off and on again, and try to edit the track a little bit, but that didn't seem to fix it. So I might have to redo it again, which is okay. Hopefully I can do that during a time lapse, and so that everyone can see how I do it. But because I was so happy with the actual design of the roller coaster as it is right now, and it's just a shame that I have to redo it from scratch. But I guess it is what it is, right? So over here, let me describe a little bit of what I'm doing, because I've been talking about the Alpha 2 update a lot more than what I'm actually building. I wanted to add this tiny little house just for one of the concession stands, in this case the Cosmic Cow, and I wanted to keep it kind of in between the maze and sort of under the roller coaster, and I think it turned out amazingly well. However, the path was not really well located, so I had to extend the pillars from the surrounding gallery. And in one of the attempts to, adding detail here, I came up with this idea of having this white blocks kind of extend away. They're really simple, but that gave me the idea of creating a bit of an outside patio that will feature, you're going to see in just a second, it will feature some vegetation kind of intertwined between, almost there you go, that's what I meant. Like a vine kind of going through the motions, and it looks really Italian-y and Spanish, which is kind of the style that I was aiming for. But another thing that I wanted to do here is actually integrate the signs, and that's something that, to me, it's kind of important. Parks of this kind, yeah, they're really good. They really do a really good job, is what I'm trying to say. Recreating different styles or different architecture patterns from all over the world. But at the same time, you do find this crazy over-the-top neon signs, because you still want to advertise to your visitors that, hey, you can buy things here. You can spend your money buying this sugary drinks. So I always try to integrate the actual signs from the shops into the belts that I'm using. So you're gonna see me do that a little bit more, and you also probably saw it at the beginning of this series in episode 1 and 2, where I did it on the first courtyard that we did at the front of the park. But just wanted to give a little bit of explanation, because it truly kind of it doesn't belong there, right? It's not definitely the architecture style, but I really wanted to to integrate it as much as I could. And over here, you can see the driftwood on the side of the path, kind of adding a little bit more detail, you know, kind of guiding through the entrance of this concession stand. And this point in time, I'm just trying to add details to the house, which is, by the way, not finished. You're going to see it in a minute once the time lapse is over, how it turns out, but how it turned out so far, but it's definitely not finished. And we're going to try to add a few more details before the end of the episode. But overall, I'm quite happy with how it turned out. And honestly, I'm quite happy with how the updates and everything that was released are performing. The game works totally fine except for the roller coaster. But there's really a lot more potential now with all the cool new features that were released. So here you have it, our milkshake store full of detail and everything. I just love how it looks. And I think this is a good opportunity to show you some of these cool new features that I was telling you about a moment ago. But first, let me try to zoom in here if we can. Camera controls are slightly better, but I'm still struggling with them. But as you can see, this is how this store looks. Let me show you the roof. It's really, really pretty. And I think even with this, all these details in pink, they still look pretty amazing. And over here, we just have a set of random props. And over on this side is still on detail. So we'll tackle that soon enough. And one thing I did add after the time lapse is some of these windows. So this will be like actual offices for the park administrators to oversee all these people. In fact, we might put down some air conditioning units here. In fact, let me just do that right now. Let's go into edit mode and find those air conditioning units. I think they're under decorations. Yes. Here we go. Let's just put them here where they are now going to be really seen. I mean, I guess it's still pretty visible. Maybe on this wall will be less noticeable. Actually, let's do that. Perfect. So let's get rid of that one. Try to zoom out. There we go. Perfect. And I just noticed that we're missing an important part of the decoration here. Let me try to position the camera a little bit better. There we go. Looking up. We need to grab this thing and we're gonna bring it up if I can. It's so insanely difficult to move the camera after the fact. So I highly encourage you to never do this. Never do what I'm doing, which is add details after you created the building, because it's impossible. I feel like this used to be much easier in the previous version of the game, but let me see if I can get this right. First of all, I need to rotate it. Rotation was not working very well for me at some point during the development of this building. There we go. That's great. Now, one thing that's important to know, let's actually put down a couple of windows. I think we're using, these are new, by the way. We have a ton of, wait, we even have this railing over here. That's actually pretty cool. Let's replicate the same design that we have on the other side. That way we wouldn't have to like sinking the stone balcony to get this effect. So that's really interesting. Now, let's just say that I put this off by, I don't know, by a few pixels. Now, before I would have to click here and go move. And when I click move, it would just follow wherever my cursor was, which was kind of annoying. So this is what I'm going to do now. This cool new feature, this is one of my favorite things. You can go into advanced mode, and this will prompt the, oh man, what's the name of this thing? Okay. I'm sure someone in the comments will let me know what the name of this 3-point axis gizmo is. But basically it allows you to move independently of the, oops, to redo that, independently of the other two axes. So in this case, I just wanted to move a little bit up. And there you go. Just click outside and it works. And it looks fantastic. So let's put down a few windows and kind of copy the same design that we have on the other side, which is two of these windows over here. And the tiny little fenced balcony like so and like so. In this case, we're going to do the exact same thing because it's kind of sticking out. We're going to click on the advanced mode and bring it in right about there. Fantastic. Click outside. Do the same with this one. Bring it in. Just like that. Click done. And voila. Actually, no, not voila. What happens is I try to exit that mode by pressing escape. And by pressing escape, you cancel the change that you make. So don't do that. It took me a while to figure that out, but I'm sure that will be fixed soon. But let me show you how the maze actually looks like, because it's actually really beautiful. We start here with this dock with a little boat. That looks really nice. We have the little texture here. If I zoom in quickly, closely, look at the detail of the grass. This used to be here too, but now with the rocks, because there's a little bit of a rock texture here too on the sand, it just looks beautiful. Hopefully once we have water in this game, it will look fantastic too. Let me see over here. A ton of detail in the textures. A lot of possibilities. Now going through this maze, let me see if I can get inside. There we go. Doesn't this look pretty? It's awesome. I really, really like how this turned out. And the fact that I'm navigating through it is just beautiful. There's a lot of new rides too that we have to put down that were released during. Oh, we have a floating thing over here. Let's fix it in advanced mode because that's way easier. Now let me just show you from the first-person view how this roller coaster actually looks. That's why I'm so happy with this design. I'm so sad that I have to turn it down. So here we go. Whee! Isn't it amazing? I'm so scared of real roller coasters, but man, that was amazing. So this is what I was saying. It opens the door and it closes the door and nobody gets in. I created the paths again from scratch and whatnot, but it wouldn't get it fixed. Which brings me to another cool new feature. You can finally do curved paths that go at an angle. Look at this. Isn't this awesome? Just a really gentle slope going up as a curve. In fact, there's one of these that creates a staircase too. What do you think of this? I accidentally put down a burger patty and some cheese on top of this skull. And honestly, I just love it. It's so funny. It's ridiculous. I know, it's ridiculous, but it just looks great. So let me know if you hate it. If most of you hate it, I'll remove it. But for the time being, I'm just gonna keep it because it's so ridiculous. But yeah, let's move to the new features. Show you the paths real quick. So these are the transparent paths that I was just telling you about. We have one that actually has a little rope kind of around. Let me show you in detail how that looks, which is really nice. I think there's another one. This is the same one, but without the sand. If you want to add the sand, you can just simply do that. You can even increase the intensity, or you can even increase the radius, and you just create sand all over. In terms of the cues, we also have some new textures, but you can go up this way. Actually, if I turn this on, I know there's one of these that creates a staircase. There you go. Basically, depending on the angle, you'll create the different steps, which is actually really nice. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, terraforming. Basically, we can just do this. That's, simple enough. Nothing crazy about it. Let me reduce this a little bit and go a little bit up. Now, you will notice that the circle where you're painting or, using as a brush kind of contours around the different, the difference in terrain. So in this case, it's at an angle. So if I go, this way, I can basically create something like this and connect it to that. And we have a big arch created with stone. In fact, if you want to take it a step further, we can grab the brush, just painting it all with sand. Like even the the sides of this thing can be painted in sand, which is kind of amazing. In fact, let's increase the radius of this and create it in rock. It's a little bit too repetitive, but if that is an issue for you, you could just combine it with a different texture, like so. So now it's not as repetitive. And you can even add some spots of sand throughout. There we go. And even bring in the grass a little bit further in. It's good to play around with a different intensity. That way it's not super strong. And of course, one of the main things too was a lot of new coasters. Pretty standard coasters. I'm not going to get into detail, but we're probably going to be building one in the next episode just to replace the one that we currently have here. And of course, a few new rides. I think this one, the Cycola, is new. And I noticed another one too. Hang on, where is it? The Radius is also new. And the Kip Flop. And the Insanity. I thought it was a face. It looks like a face here, but it's not. It's just whatever this is. So those are some of the highlights. I'm sure that will give you an idea of all the cool things that were released on Alpha 2 and the possibilities that we have in this game to create amazing new things for this little park. And unfortunately, that's all the time that I have for now. So if you enjoyed this episode, I highly encourage you to click the like button. And also, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and like what you see. In the next episode, I'm going to continue adding details, and probably we're going to start by reworking the roller coaster because that's a major attraction in our park, and we really need to figure out something about that. But yeah, it's exciting things are ahead. So I want to thank you all for watching. I really hope to see you in the next one.